Welcome back, Lions fans. We are back with another episode of Lions Basement Banter. It's officially training camp time in Detroit. So today, during our quick hit segment, we're going to take a look at some of the comments made by coaches and players alike, and also just some highlights going on during the early days of training camp.
Yeah, and then in our main event, we're going to start off. It's mail day. This says do not bend because it's a photo. So we'll see what's inside this. We're really excited for that. And then we'll just continue talking about training camp and some of the things that are going on there as well.
Yeah. And in our weekly That Was Random segment, we've got a real treat for you. We're not going to spoil that, let you have your dinner first before you give you some dessert.
Yeah, I
Yep.
guess so.
Yep.
Um,
So we've got just a lot of stuff going on all around the NFL as well as outside in other sports.
yeah, and so let's go ahead and get into the show. As always, our show is brought to you by Empire Contractors out of Shelby, Michigan. Empire Contractors is a full service roofing company. They specialize in liquid applied roof restoration. If you or someone you know needs a commercial roof, definitely check them out. They can be found at roofsbyempire.com or on Facebook. So let's get into it and see what's going on. All right, so let's go with quick hits.
Yeah.
We'll start out here. I'll start out here. Brian Branch.
Mhm.
Um, He was on the non-football injury list for, I believe, the first practice. Yeah, I guess it's
First day of
practice at this
training
point.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah. But now he has basically been taking reps at safety next to Kirby Joseph. Um, and Rake and Mosley both were splitting reps and walkthroughs and everything else in the slot. So that kind of begs the question, is Branch going to be a safety this year? Well, then we got that answer today because or today or yesterday.
It's
Um,
yesterday, I believe
yep.
that came out. Yep.
And just so you guys know, I'll be out of town. I think we should say this first. I'll be out of town this week, so we are doing this a little early. So when we say today, it's Friday. So when this releases, we might be a couple days behind, but that's all right. But yeah, so the question is, Brian Branch getting moved to safety. It has been confirmed they are looking at doing that, essentially full time or close to it. So want to kind of ask, I guess, is this mainly what we will see out of him? Do you see him moving around more? And if so, what will we see out of Fitu Melifonwu?
Well, he's versatile, so it's not like we're not going to see a stagnant lineup of Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch sitting back at safety. Kirby Joseph will play most of his snaps back there just because that's where he's best at. But we know how versatile Brian Branch is, so I expect probably take the majority of his snaps from safety, but he'll move down into the nickel when they need in those packages. Um, that doesn't mean anything for Iffy Melifonwu. I think he's performed well, and he's going to get chances to be out on the field just as much as he was last year, even more. Um, now, who knows what that's going to be? They may be, gearing up to run a lot of where they drop a linebacker out and they put another defensive back in there. They do some stuff like that. The weird thing about the Lions right now is they are so rich at the corner and safety
That
positions
is really weird to think
that
about.
that there are just a lot of guys that are capable of performing, and it's just figuring out who's going to perform the best where.
Okay, and that kind of leads us into the next, I guess, part of that two-part quick hits. Where do you think Meek fits in with this? I mean, I know we signed him as depth. We knew that. Even contrary to what he says, obviously he says he's sick of being thought of as that second string guy. He's here to start, but I don't think he will. And I guess that's kind of what I'm wondering. Do you think Amik fits in anywhere? Do you equate him to like a Emmanuel Mosley almost, like as far as playing time, or do you think
Well,
he's a step above that because of the injuries? Or
I think I want to back off the comment of signing him for depth because I might agree with him at this point. He may be that starting nickel corner.
okay,
Um, from what I'm seeing, you've got Terry and Arnold, who's probably going to be starting at cornerback 2 across from Carlton Davis on the other side. I would think that Robertson would kind of slot in at that cornerback 3 spot, which would play the slot. Um, Rakestraw, I think, maybe the more depth signing. They
Hmm.
they they got him because he's young. They can mold him, and then I think what is Amik on, like a 2-year deal or something like that?
I think it's a two. Yep, I
Yeah.
think it's a two.
So he's not going to be there long term. By the time he's gone, Ennis Rakestraw should be ready to go at a starting, level. And so he just slides in. And for Emmanuel Mosley, he's going to be a depth guy in terms of he's going to earn a rotational role, but he's obviously probably not going to be out there right away. So I don't even think we need to talk about him in terms of being in a starting conversation until we see that Campbell and Holmes are ready to put him forward full go. Which I know he did talk to the media today, Friday, and he was asked about if he's 100%, and he said yes.
Okay, yeah.
But that's from the player's mouth. You never know what
Right.
the trainers are
We've
gonna
seen
say.
that plenty of times. So actually staying with Mosley here, and you kind of already answered it, but I just want to keep going here. And I'm gonna I'll throw this one out there, and then I'll give my take on it, and then let you throw it out there
You sick
too.
of hearing me talk?
No, not really. I think so. We've asked before about Mosley on the show. I mean, we talked about him even prior to. I think it was even before OTAs. We were talking about Mosley and where he fits in and what the thought is, based on the cornerbacks that we picked up and stuff. So I just kind of wonder. He's been out there taking some reps with the ones in camp, and some of that was based on. I kind of threw the joke out there. Carlton Davis and a couple other guys must have taken the Delta flights because the first day of camp they were on the NFI list and then they were back. So, but is there a chance? Um, and I'll answer first, like I said. But is there a chance Mosley has a larger role in this team by default, just because he's been there? He was there last year, and he might have a leg up on these guys, like a Meek or obviously Ennis Rakestraw. And I would say if he comes back healthy, this dude was a baller in San Francisco. I mean, I'm not gonna say like top five cornerback, but he was up there. He was a solid
He's
cornerback.
probably like top 15, top 20,
Yeah.
somewhere in that
Yep.
range.
So I mean, but he had potential, and he was obviously on the incline. Um, I see him if he's a full go, full healthy, and we can do something with Kirby, Iffy, and BB at safety. I can see him being CB3. I can see it happening if he's healthy. What do you think about that?
I think it's possible. I don't at this stage feel confident enough to put his name in there just because of the injury history, and I don't. He's an unknown.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
the other guys we know are going to be on the field most likely because some of them are young, so they don't, have any injury history. Some of them have limited injury history and nothing recent that's going to bother them. With Mosley, it's 2 years of significant season-ending injuries, and it's hard for me to yes, if he's full go talent wise, yes, absolutely, he could be cornerback 3. He may even battle for cornerback 2 at that time if Arnold, God forbid, Arnold or Davis struggle a little bit off the go. But
Which is possible. I mean, everybody has off days or whatever. I mean, we even saw it in our amazing top five quarterback Jared Goff. He had a slow stretch there. So yeah,
hmm
it happens. And the nice thing is, the beautiful thing is, if everybody stays healthy, we have depth at that position. Finally, I'm so excited that we have depth there.
well, one of the things I really liked was again talking about the way players were talking at the media availability. Today on Friday, they had Mosley, Jack Campbell, and Jared Goff available to media, and they asked Mosley, it was that they said that it had gotten a little chippy out there in practice. Apparently, the cornerbacks are not being shy about chirping at receivers and the quarterbacks, and Mosley said that actually Terry and Arnold is probably the biggest,
I'm so shocked by that.
yeah, he talks the most, but he said it's good because it brings energy. But they are also asked him, well, with it getting chippy, are you guys ready for pads? And he said, oh, absolutely. He said
Yeah,
he said
I'm
we want to
sure.
hit. He said we're it's weird. He said that we're kind of wired in the way that we just want to hit. He said we want to run at each other and just we want to run into each other like car crashes is what he said.
Probably not a really solid, you know,
I loved it. I
explanation
don't
there, but
even care. I loved it.
um, Yeah, and like you said, Jack Campbell was also available, and we'll get into that on our last quick hit here. But we have one in between. It was kind of just a silly one that I threw out there, and I kind of wanted to get your feel on it too. Um, but yeah, before we move to that, I do agree. I think it almost sounds like Gardner Johnson might still be out there with all the talking that sounds like
I
it's
don't
going on.
I don't think he's quite to that level. Gardner Johnson is just uh, confident in himself to a fault. Terry Arnold is just playful, confident in himself.
He's just youthful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
he's not coming out here trying to tear down your reputation.
No, he's fun and he's youthful, and I mean he's a competitive guy. He's a competitor. Did you have you been seeing the Terry and Arnold's Rookie Chronicles for after
Yeah, I've been
on
watching his
TikTok?
TikToks.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, man, those are awesome. Those are hilarious. I don't have any clips of those this week, but we might throw some in there because I'd like to put some together. He literally he's talking about stuff and he's just like there's going to be some really good sound bites from him because he's saying stuff like, "If you don't know football, you don't know football."
Better get
So
him mic'd up this year.
there's going to be some fun ones. All right, so let's move into the next one. Like I said, this was just kind of a silly one, and I just wanted to see what you thought. Do you see the Lions possibly owning the Super Bowl and league MVP this season? Do you think it's possible that that happens?
I I hate these questions. I hate these
I
questions
love it.
with a passion because why are we talking about this right now? We are in the beginning of August. There is no talk about Super Bowl right now. The only talk about Super Bowl happening around the Lions is that Dan Campbell and it's been talked about around there that that's the standard this year is they
The
are
whole
gunning for a
enchilada.
Super Bowl,
Yep.
which is fine. That's what everyone's gunning for.
Hmm.
But people like us, we've got to stop putting expectations on these guys of what they're going to be doing in January and February. Let's get through September, October, November, and see what we're looking at, and then we can start talking about that. I Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Any team could do that,
Right.
but I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to throw anybody's name out there right now or talk about league MVPs because we don't know what's going to be
Are
happening.
you scared of jinxing it, or what do you do? I'm
No,
just kidding.
I'm
I'm
not.
messing with you.
I'm
I'm
not
messing with you.
superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Okay. I'm not. So I could see it happening. I mean, who knows? But the talks. I guess what happened last year, how close we were in certain places. It's possible. That's all. So
Well, yeah, and you heard him talking about it today. This will lead into our next one on Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell made it known. He said, "We don't care about what happened last year." He said, "We made it that far, and that's great." And he said, "I was a rookie and I got playoff reps, which was great."
hmm
But he said, "We're done with that. We're moving on. We're focused on this year." Um, and Jared Goff echoed that a little bit with talking about the same old Lions stuff that they had to deal with last year, with all the attention and focus constantly being on breaking these streaks and snapping losing streaks and winning playoff games when they hadn't been won. And he said it's nice to have that load off his back, but he said load off of their back, but they were never focused on that. They were focused on them, their team, and what their team could do.
I got news for old Jared Goff there, man.
What?
We're not done with those because I've already seen people throwing out like, if the Lions go to the playoffs this year, they'll be back to back playoffs for the first time since blah blah blah. And like,
Well,
it's just never
it's a
gonna
little bit.
end.
It'll be a
There's those
little bit different.
statisticians.
The What he's talking about is the journalists in particular who show up to these press conferences. They're constantly the focus is on the teams before and what they did and how they're going to do better than those teams.
Hmm.
They do not care about what the teams did before them. They want to do what they can do with their roster, and that's how you should be by all means.
Oh, for sure.
If
For
there's
sure.
a journalist who's out there asking those questions constantly, like, do you have any new material? Because how many times can you write an article about bad stuff that's happened to the Lions in the past and what they're
Right.
doing to amend it? Like, I mean, we get it. Get some new content.
The Lions just have to handle their business. That's
Yeah.
all. That's point blank. Period. And Jack Campbell, we're still talking about him as in his interview, and he did mention while he was talking about that that their aspiration, as I would assume 31 other defenses are doing the same thing at this very moment, is to be the number one defense in the NFL. With the changes we've made, with the youth we have, with the rookies that are going to be playing, With the injury history of some of these guys, do you see that? Do you see any shot at that? And
Yeah.
again, we're doing this again. I know that, but like,
Well,
he threw it out there.
that's
So
easier to talk about because that's not talking about winning championships and that kind of. This is just talking about the potential of a group on our team. And yes, I believe there's potential they could be the number one defense. I think it was great the way he worded it because he said you will never get anywhere by setting attainable goals, is what he said in his interview. He said they know that they could be a top 10 defense, but that's not what they're gunning for. He said, we want to be the best defense in the NFL. He said, we know how good we were against the run, and the expectation is to get the pass defense right back up to where the run defense was. And I just thought that was great. And he had some great sound bites in there. They were asking him about they asked like everyone that came up to the podium who has the most swag on the team, which I thought was
yeah, that
weird to
was funny.
continually ask
No, I
every
know
player.
that was funny though.
But we got a JMO answer. Goff called out Ragnow and Glasgow for having the most swag on the team with their. He said, what did he say? He said their Birkenstocks and
Glasgow's
their
got to be up there for sure.
when he's wearing his emo fit. Yeah,
Yep,
for sure.
exactly.
No, but they talked about that, and Jack Campbell said, he said, you should not be asking me this question. He said, I have probably got the least swag of anyone in the NFL. He said, I don't. These guys got all these cool shoes and cars and that, and he said, I don't. He said, I'm driving still driving a 2015 Ford pickup, and he said it's reliable and gets the job done.
Yep, yep. And I think somebody actually like asked him if he thought he had more swag than JMO or something, and it's just funny. But yeah, I think like you're saying, there's a shot. Obviously we've made the changes and everything. One thing I do want to say, one more thing I want to say about Jack Campbell and his interviews, that interview in particular, and also the way that some of the videos I've seen, some of the stuff, the clips from these practices. Um, the dude looks like he's he's growing, and I'm not talking muscular, which obviously he is. He's put on some muscle for sure in the off season, but he looks like seems like he's becoming that leader that you would expect out of a Mike linebacker, and um, possibly a green dot guy eventually here.
Yeah,
So it's exciting.
that's the expectation. I
Yep.
think once Anzalone is done.
Yep.
All right, and with that, we are going to move on into our main event. But before we do that, let's take a break here and listen to a little message about one of our sponsors. This show is brought to you by Empire Contractors over here in Shelby, Michigan, on the west side of the state where we do our show, right along the lakeshore. Empire Contractors is a commercial roofing contractor who specializes in liquid applied roofing restoration. Check this out.
They can clean your existing roof, make some minor repairs, and apply a new thick coating system over your existing roof, avoiding expensive and nasty tear off, saving you about half the cost over other systems. Empire Contractors work the entire Great Lakes region.
Give them a call to see if your roof is a candidate. They can be reached at 231-861-7221 or by going to roofsbyempire.com. They are also on Facebook. And we are back, and it is time for the main event, and we are going to kick it off in the most spectacular way possible. As we mentioned before, we got a little bit of a gift from the man, the myth, the legend, Barry Sanders himself. We won a contest on X where we just happened to retweet one of his tweets, and he sent us a signed picture. We got it in the mail just after we recorded our show last
the
week.
day after.
Yeah, so we've had it here. It's enclosed. We haven't looked at it. We've been anxiously awaiting the moment where we could open it, but we wanted to do it with you guys and kind of show you what we got. So without further ado, Zach's going
Let's
to
do it
rip
up.
that open.
Yeah, and as I do, a couple things. Shout out to Barry because him and his team are always giving these away, which is awesome. Shout out to him on that. And then the other thing is, this thing sat here so long that my wife, who does not care about football or the Lions or Barry Sanders at all, actually started asking if she could see it because she was waiting for it for so long. So, or she knew I was excited about it, but we got some tape in here. I hope I don't ruin it. Oh my gosh. It's like tape to it. Technical difficulties here. Oh,
Let's get
no
it
way.
cardboarded.
All right, dude. Have you check it out? Show the camera, man. Heck yeah. Thanks, Barry. We appreciate that.
It's actually not a picture so much as it's a playing card.
It is a card, and
It's a card.
that is right up my alley there. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
pretty excited
here,
about that.
you want to pull up your camera? I'll see if I can get it up there for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Have you guys check it out? You're way out of focus. Back yourself up. Yeah, you're not gonna get it. It's all good. We'll post a picture on our Twitter, on our X here. Uh, dang man, thank you so much. I was waiting so long for a Barry Auto, and I'm super excited. I'm yes, sir. On card auto signed by Barry. That is man.
And we will be doing a giveaway on that.
We will never give this away. In fact, Brendan, I meant to tell you, you're down here in the basement. This is where your headquarters is. If we ever have any kind of house fire, please don't worry about your cat or anything else. Grab the berry.
We don't mean that literally. Please do not cancel us for animal cruelty. Zach does not understand the cancel culture of today.
I'm too old for that. So, yeah. Anyways, moving on. That was pretty awesome. Again, big ups to Barry and what he does there. So
we'll jump from one Campbell, Jack, into another Campbell, Dan. So we're going to talk a little bit more about training camp here. The first day of training camp, we had Dan Campbell addressing the media with some pretty good quotes, as we know to expect from him. I don't know how many times I find myself quoting something Dan Campbell just because his sound bites are legendary.
I tell you what, if I had $1 for every time Brendan said something about 3 toes and 1 ass cheek, I think I would probably be able to buy another one of these Barry autographs. So
so we got one that stood out. Was his quote. He said, "We don't live off reputation, we live off work."
Love it.
Just
Love
thoughts
it.
on that?
A complete grit. I would not expect anything else out of him. I mean, that goes exactly the way I would expect from Dan Campbell. I mean, really, like that's been his type of mantra all along. He just finds different ways to put it in words. And damn it, if he's not one of those leaders that can literally make you want to run through a wall every single time he speaks.
Yeah,
So
I saw.
that's it.
Talk about a little bit of coaches. Still, I saw we just got a clip today of Mr. Jim Harbaugh.
Oh gosh,
at Chargers training camp.
That dude's gonna have a heart attack, bro.
They were doing a bit of a strength drill where they had guys with the belt around them, and they were pulling other guys that were standing on weights. It looked like, and they were pulling them across the finish line. And to the surprise of everyone, Jim Harbaugh's out there participating in the drill, doing it the same. He's about 10 steps behind everyone else. But
yep, started to slow down at the end of the clip. But
and the Chargers posted and said, "Your coach can't do this," or something like that. Or
stop it.
and there was just a slew of Lions fans in the comments saying, "I think I beg to differ."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could. I'm pretty sure
there's a lot of coaches that could do that. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Bet against Campbell or D'Amico Ryans or some of these former players. Mike Vrabel. I know he's not a head coach anymore, but he definitely would have been able to do that.
Yeah, and yeah.
Mike Vrabel was also posted in a clip. Apparently, he is now performing a race with Jameis Winston at Browns training camp every day.
I missed that.
So they do like a race.
Sounds cool, but I'd still rather have the Terry and Arnold Rookie Chronicles every day. So,
just let that probably belongs in that was random, but there was a little bit of coach speak going on, and we. Speaking of training camp, we also got a little bit of an update on the facilities out in Allen Park.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, they've never really associated a name to the training facilities out there, but it looks like they've expanded their partnership with Meyer. It's now called the Meyer Performance Center. So they got
largest podium in the world.
They got a nice sign that says Meyer Performance Center I saw inside the building, but like you said, the biggest change seems to be this gargantuan podium at the presser room, which I don't understand. There's so many things you could have done with a podium that would have looked better. This thing is literally just a clunky box of white and blue.
I don't know. So the way I feel about it is I think it's way too large. Pause, damn it. I think it's like way too big of a podium, but I do like the scheme, what they did with it. I do like it. It looks really fresh against the blue background. I do like it. But a couple things with this now infamous podium. First of all, shout out Brad Holmes Balge. We're back on shouting him out. He literally said something about like for every like I get on some post or whatever, I'll make the podium bigger. Eventually, it ended up on the moon. It was so big. It was hilarious. So watching those was funny. The second thing is shout out to Easy from Woodward Sports. He posted something and I kind of joked around because he posted something about him with a girlfriend or something. I'm not sure, but I said, your funny must be really big. And he came back with a clip of Dan Campbell saying, talking about the podium and looking at it, and he said, I don't know, it's big. So I thought that was pretty funny too. But anyway, moving on. This podium is going to be super famous, I think. So
It's going to be the subject of a lot of memes, and I feel like at some point they're going to get rid of it just because of all the stuff that's been going on. And there's going to be that social media admin has got to be all over that, doing like a uh, ASPCA type thing where they
Mhm.
like in the arms of the angel.
Yes. And then Justin Rogers also posted a picture of somebody with a backwards hat, backwards ball cap, and a black beard and like black
Oh
curly
God,
hair. You couldn't see the guy's face,
nightmares.
but yeah, essentially it was creating a lot of nightmares because it made us feel like maybe Matt Patricia was standing behind that thing. It brought us back to some very bad times. So,
Nightmare.
but like I said, that's just the fun we've had with this podium as Lions fans this week, and it's just been really cool.
Yep, and then of course along with the podium upgrades, we got upgrades to the outdoor facility as well. Some of you fans have probably already experienced this if you've been to training camp. They have covered bleachers now, so no need to worry about getting beat down on by the sun. There is shade out over top, so you can watch in comfort, as well as a two-story enclosed VIP area.
Yes,
So
sir.
so
It's our first training camp this year, so we will never understand the oppression of the sun on those bleachers. So I'm excited about that and thankful that both the Lions organization and Meyer came together. Both of those companies just seem to keep winning right now, honestly. So all right, let's move on to a couple other things that are going on training camp. So Jameson Williams, he's been huge as far as what in the Lions media and fans speaking about him. There's videos emerging of him catching a wide open deep ball, and by wide open I mean he got wide open, not like
he burnt the coverage.
yes, not like these videos we're seeing of Justin Fields throwing a ball to somebody that didn't have coverage at all. It was just literally just like playing catch with my son in the yard. Uh, he burnt the coverage. He tracked the ball. He jumped up, went up and got the ball with two hands. I'm so excited, dude, to see what this guy looks like with a full preseason under his belt here.
Now, of
I'm so
course,
excited.
with every bit of praise you get for JMO, you get a little bit of a knock to him. And this isn't necessarily a knock in everyone's eyes, but it was circulating around that he did go to the sideline after a play in practice and was vomiting on the sideline, and it was said that it was not conditioning related, contrary to what Zach posts on X.
Oh man.
Um, but he had actually eaten something bad for breakfast, and it didn't agree with him, which does not surprise anyone when you're putting a McFlurry on a double cheeseburger
Yeah,
at
the
McDonald's.
McJamo. They need to name that the McJamo. But and just to throw this out there because Brendan didn't give the full context, I
Well, I
was
would have if you
completely
would have let
joking.
me finish it off, but go ahead.
I was completely joking about the text or about the post that I sent. It was literally a tongue-in-cheek question, and people obviously took it as I was basically saying the Lions didn't do their job as far as conditioning. So
Zach
yeah.
doesn't quite understand the fact that if you don't put something denoting the fact that it was a joke, like an emoji of some sort, people will legitimately take what you say for what you say and will rip you to shreds
And
for it.
Brendan doesn't understand what monetization means by getting extra clicks
Oh
by
my
leaving
gosh.
it
Oh
open.
my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
This guy's clip farming over here. All right, so
Anyways,
Anyway, that seemed to be negative for JMO, but then you talk about the fact that he did that and then threw up, and then he ultimately came back out and kept playing. So
And did you see what Campbell said about that? He was asked about JMO throwing up, and he did say, based on the catch that he had, which we aforementioned, he literally said if JMO's going to make catches like that, he can throw up as much as he wants. So so no big deal.
I did hear reports today that JMO may have not been at practice today, and I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that
Yeah, it
was out
was.
there by a media member.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just some things to keep your eyes on. Don't panic about JMO, but he looks good. He's got praise. There is some things floating around question wise, but don't I wouldn't. It's nothing to be scared about until it's something to be scared about. So
No, it was an excused absence
okay,
essentially.
okay, I
Yep,
did
it
not
was
hear that.
excused. Yep. There
So
was
good.
somebody else on the team too, but I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, so we'll go from a little bit of good news, I guess, if that's what you want to consider all of what we just told you on JMO, to maybe some bad news. We got some injury updates from training camp, and starting off is the big man behemoth Manu, Giovanni Manu, who we drafted this year in the 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
He started on the non-football injury list, but then was removed 2 days later. So whatever was going on with him seems to be resolved. So we're good there.
Yep. Saw some videos of him running out. I mean, he looks healthy. He looks fine. So it could have
Yep,
been an
yep.
illness or
We
who
already
knows.
talked about Branch starting on that non-football injury list, or on the what is it, physically unable to perform
Mm-hmm.
list, the pup list,
Yep.
and Marcus Davenport was also on that list.
Which is a little scary to me. I know he's off now, but that concerns me just
And
because of his history.
that could just be him recovering from last year. We
Yep.
don't know. That's what Brian Branch is. We know he didn't get injured at all coming up because he was in a boot and he was on a scooter. So he was still recovering from surgery that he had to mend something from last year. So that could just be the same case with
Correct. Yep.
Marcus.
Yep.
We know he's had a long injury history, so he could just be trying to, go through these things to try and
Yeah.
reach his peak health.
It's just something to keep an eye on. Is all. Just keep Davenport and keep your eye on that.
Yep,
Is
and we
all.
talked about him Branch taking first team reps next to Kirby, so we can move on from that. Your favorite man, our newest addition on the interior of the D line,
The big boy.
DJ Reader, also appeared on the injury list, but we were also told that he's doing well coming off that torn quad,
Yeah.
and he's healing and doing great. They're working on just getting him back to NFL strength now, which
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
which is
I mean, I was just gonna say that's to be expected with the injury he had. I mean, realistically, like he's
and it's a
probably
double injury too because he tore that same quad. It's a
right.
double tear of the same
Right,
quad.
exactly. And, I don't know how healing goes on that kind of thing. I'm not going to try to speculate, but obviously, I'm sure a gentleman of his size was probably somewhat by trainers told to stay off of it in certain situations. So I'm sure there was a little bit of time where he lost some muscle mass and
Yeah,
everything.
and
So
this is nothing new by Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's standards. We know that they like to take their time bringing guys back,
it's
and by all
smart.
means, give him all the time he can to get back to NFL strength.
It's worked. It's
Quads are
worked.
quads are no joke, and I can't imagine how much strength you need to be able to anchor yourself into a turf ground and then go up against other 350-pound men and try
Pushing you
and
the opposite
keep
way.
them upright. You
Yeah.
know.
Yep. So I think he'll be good. Not super positive where he'll be at the beginning of the season, but hopefully everything goes well and he's ready. But Kobe Sorsdahl, man, he
This is
was.
not an injury. This is just a position
Yep.
thing
Yep.
there.
We're yeah. That's true. Kobe Sorsdahl. I was impressed with him last year and what he was able to do as a rookie. I was shocked, honestly, that he got some of the playing time he did, but I think based on some of the injuries we had on the line, we didn't have much of a choice. Not to take anything away from Kobe, but he is not listed as a guard or a tackle this year. He is literally only being listed as an offensive lineman at this point. And it just seems like they liked his versatility last year and his availability, and we might see some big things. I'm not going to say he's going to start or anything like that, but we might see some big things out of Kobe this year.
Yeah, he's not going to start by any means. If everyone on that line is healthy, he will not start. You've got
Correct.
Pro Bowl level players and established starters, future Hall of Famers
Yep.
on that offensive line. He's not going to crack any of those guys unless one goes down, barring, I'm not even going to say, I don't want to say it, but if anyone gets injured, he's in.
And it's just the facts. I mean, it is. I
And
mean, it's just the facts.
we saw him play well at right guard and right tackle last year.
Yeah.
He played both, and he wasn't by any means perfect. He still had a lot of learning to do, but
He's a rookie, though.
yeah, to me that just means it's great. They must have drafted him for the reason that he's able to possibly play all five positions on the line. I don't know if center's in his future.
I don't think so. I think they've got him guard tackle.
Well, when you've
both
got
sides.
Ragnow and then a guy like Glasgow who's got
Yep.
experience at the position, I don't see why you would ever need him in that spot. You could just move him over to guard.
Which, think about that for a second. I just want to touch on that a little bit. Those two guys are not spring chickens anymore. That might be a position of interest next year, I think.
What, getting a center?
Mm-hmm.
I would agree, but I'm not even going to entertain it because that's next year. And let's save that. Let's save that for the.
I'm just
offseason,
throwing it out there.
Let's talk about a little bit more injury stuff. Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson were on the non-football injury list for one day and then back on the field. So you pointed out that maybe they were stuck in the airport with a Delta flight type thing, but
Yep.
that is not confirmed.
DPJ was also one of those guys that was on there. But
good to see them all right though.
It's a twofold good to see because what happened with them being on the non-football injury list is for one day is it allowed some of the other guys like Mosley, like we said, Brian Branch. It allowed some of those guys to come in. I believe even because of these two, we saw Rakestraw and Terry and Arnold taking team one reps on the very first day of training camp. So it's a good thing.
For Rakestraw, and I don't remember what day this came out of, but it was said that he was a bright spot and he forced the only turnover by the defense on that given day. He punched a ball out, which is something that they are like focusing on a lot more, is trying to force turnovers, which is good because, I feel like that's one place we really lack in on the defense is getting the offense back on the field.
Yes.
We can force guys to punt, but we don't necessarily get those quick change type things to where we can come out and sling one,
flip
and
the
burn
field
them,
or whatever else. Yep.
So
and one thing I just want to throw this out there because of the hat throwing situation that we talked about during the draft. I have majorly warmed up to the aspect of Rakestraw. I think he's the kind of guy that's going about his business very quietly. I think he's the complete opposite of Terry and Arnold, which is Terry and Arnold is good in his way, and Rakestraw is good in his way. And I've warmed up to the idea of Rakestraw. I'm very excited to see what he becomes.
And I think I loved that from the beginning. I think I would have been angry if we got Rakestraw in the first. I think the value of getting Rakestraw in the second after we already got Terry and Arnold was crazy good.
I just feel like it's a fire and ice situation and it's perfect.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the most latest injury news coming out today, Friday. It's been said now that kicker Michael Badgley, who was our starter last season and was in a current camp battle with UFL kicker Jake Bates, he is now reportedly out for the season after tearing a hamstring at the beginning of Wednesday's practice.
Yeah, and it's going to require surgery. They have already put him on the injured reserve, and they've already brought out a kicker from the UFL, a second kicker from the UFL. I need to make sure that I say that because we've already got one. Not the way I wanted Jake Bates to get the job. I'm going to throw that out there. Do I like Badgley? No. Did I want him to be our kicker? No. This is not the way I wanted it to happen. I'm not excited about this at all. Like this is a lot of people are like, well, yeah, it's bad or it's Bates time, blah blah blah. This isn't the way I wanted to celebrate Bates getting the job. So I just want to throw that out there because I have been vocal about not liking Badgley, and I'm not excited about this.
Now let's obviously not the way we wanted it to happen. I'm excited for Bates.
Yes.
I'm not excited. It's unfortunate this is the way it has to happen, but all the best wishes to Badgley. Obviously, I hope him nothing or wish him nothing but the best. But
Right.
in my mind, I have to move on here. So Jake Bates is the guy in place now for that kicking spot. He is the guy.
Yep.
Um,
Next man up.
there is no allegiance there. So we brought in, like you said, another UFL kicker, and this one is equally as impressive. His name is Andre. I think it's Schmidt. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's SCYMT. I think is how
Yeah,
you.
I've been saying Smite, but I don't know. Who
Yeah. So
knows?
it's SZMIT or MYT. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Went to college,
Smite,
Syracuse.
whatever. Went to Syracuse. Yes.
Kicked field goals in college, so he's got an up on Bates for that.
He played for the UFL Battlehawks
Battlehawks.
this
Yep.
past season. Went 20 of 22 on his kicks. The two missed. One was from the 40 to 50-yard range, and the other one was a 50 plus. But he did hit some big kicks as well. He nailed a 61-yarder in his time, which Bates hit bigger. He hit 64-yarder this year.
Let me ask you something on this because I'm leery. I'm starting to become a little leery. Okay. I've said this before, and I still kind of believe it, but a kicker against a defense or a special teams defense coming at you, a kicker is a kicker. You still have to kick from 60 yards. You got to make it. If you're going to kick from 40, you still got to make it between the uprights. I understand that. I'm starting to feel really weird about these kickers that didn't have NFL chances. For example, this guy spent last summer with the Bears and then was waived. I'm just starting to wonder what there is in the UFL that's different than the NFL, that these guys are making 60 some yard kicks and they're not on NFL rosters already. It's just there's something that's got me
Well,
leery about that.
here's and I don't know his background, but I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect there because I don't know necessarily if these kickers get the opportunity to make these kind of kicks in college, which could,
We know Bates didn't.
diminish their draft stock. And
Yep.
usually, you know as well as I do that there's not a lot of turnover in the NFL all the time with kickers. There seems to be a few,
Mainstays. Yep.
a few teams that have their guy in place, right? But there's guys that they kind of recycle the same guys
Yep.
is what happens.
Yep. And then you got your mainstays that'll be on a team like Hanson, Vinatieri, and that'll be there for not that Vinatieri
Justin
didn't move, but
Tucker,
yep,
more
just
currently.
those guys that'll be on one or two teams for their entire
Yeah,
career.
yeah. So you've got those guys, that's fine. But when one team loses a kicker, it seems like another team picks him up,
yep,
and then the other team that lost that kicker picks up another team's kicker. So it's just kind of there's
around and around we go.
yeah, there's as of late it's kind of started to shift a little bit. You get the Bengals who get McPherson and he does well to start. You got what's the Cowboys kicker's name that had a great season this year as a rookie?
Oh, I go
Whatever
back
his
to him.
name is.
Yeah.
Cowboys kicker.
I mean, obviously still polarizing a little bit, but Harrison Butker. I mean, Kansas City, same thing.
Is it surprising that this Smite guy has not made an NFL roster? Yes, to me, because he won the Groza Award in college, which is
Yep.
awarded to the best kicker
Best
in college
kicker.
football.
Yep.
So a little bit surprising that he hasn't gotten a look, but he did spend time in the NFL. He had a chance with the Chicago Bears and was
Yeah, he was on their team all
the
summer.
preseason last year. So
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the Bears who do they have as their kicker? They don't have an absolute stud at kicker this year.
I can't remember who it is, but I don't pay attention to the kickers as much, obviously. So
It just makes I don't know. It just makes me wonder if there's what the difference is between UFL and I mean even us. Just I mean I'm saying even the Lions team. Like we had Badgley. Yep, the devil we know. I understand that. We've already talked about that. You actually didn't coin that phrase, but I'm saying you coined that phrase on the show. Like you actually said that. I'm giving you credit there. But the thing is, why did we not have Bates or Smite when we have a guy that we know when we pull him out past 35 yards, you're biting your nails. Maybe he makes it. Who the heck knows? Like why are these 60 some yard kickers not making a team, including I mean Bates obviously was somewhat of an unknown and a shocker this year.
A complete unknown.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, but Smite was not, or whatever his name is was not. He played for the Bears and got waived before he even got like a full camp or even or into preseason. I mean, like I just don't understand I don't know. I might be missing something. I just don't get the difference here between what's going on.
No,
So,
I just don't. I think
and it's a kicker overall. So whatever, I guess.
I don't think you can call it nepotism, but it's kind of what it is. Is it's people who have established names in the NFL, and
Yep,
people are
that's
more
true.
likely to give those guys chances than they are to go out and grab somebody that you don't know as well or you haven't seen kick in the NFL yet. So I don't. To me, last year it was obvious that I think Badgley was the guy going in, and then over the season it became apparent that he was not as good as what they wanted him to be. So
Mm-hmm.
they brought him back this year on a 1 year deal just because, or was it a 2 year?
It was a 1 year.
Okay, 1 year.
Yep.
They brought him back on a 1 year deal just because they didn't have anyone better, and he's a veteran that can compete.
Right.
Um,
Then we got Bates.
then we got Bates, and I think the kind of the started to shift a little bit. We know we know Bates has flashed in training camp so far. I think yesterday, Wednesday, he was 6 of 6 in practice on field goals,
Yep.
including 250+ yard field goals. So the confidence in him has to be high, but there's always going to be that factor of we don't know what he's going to be until we put him on the field.
Shout out to everybody calling him Master Bates.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I heard that Easy and Spence were arguing
What his
the
nickname
better
should be?
kicker nicknames. And they said
Dicker the kicker.
is Money Badger better than Master Bates? And there was a conversation to be had there.
I don't know, man. I still think Dicker the kicker's got to be in there too.
I always liked Greg Zerline. I liked Greg the Leg.
Okay, yeah, that's a
Called
solid
him.
one.
I thought
Yep.
that was good.
Yep.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for injuries. Really, we had to talk about that one in a bit more in depth because it's got so much uh stuff that kind of comes out of that. It's a major, weird to say, but a major position battle right now is at the kicker, so it needs to be discussed.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm being serious. I think I even said this in our last show prior to Badgley going down. Like I was very excited to see this kicker battle. I was really excited to see it. So
Well, now we'll get to see
the battle of the unknowns.
Yeah, the UFL battle for the starting job. I'm still I can't remember his name. Who was the kicker we had before?
I don't know, the one that went to the Packers. Yeah, from Michigan.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
Turner.
For some reason James sticks
James
out.
Turner.
Was
Yep.
that it?
I think it's
Okay.
Turner. Yeah.
So Turner from Michigan, obviously. I was hoping maybe we could pull him back in. Obviously, we know though once we let him go, he was picked up by the Green Bay Packers. I'm not sure how he's doing over in Green Bay. Haven't heard a lot about him.
He's probably wishing that he played for the Lions still. That's probably what he's thinking over there.
Yeah. He was claimed off waivers, and I'm assuming he's still there.
Immediately.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that would have been the move had he been available. Would been to just bring him back.
In fact, let's do that. Let's go ahead and start this. I think there was tampering, so I think that the Lions should get him back. I think Green Bay signed him way too soon.
You're
There
an
must
idiot.
have been tampering going on.
Shut
We
up.
need him back.
You're an idiot. Okay, so
Here we go with that.
So we're gonna end it out here with on our main event here with some standout / interesting nuggets coming out of training camp. Of course, we've already talked about JMO. I don't know if we need to go too more in depth than that. We know he's shown flashes. It seems he's getting better at catching and ball tracking,
Yep.
which are two of the biggest things he needed to improve on. Goff did talk about today in his presser that he's getting more comfortable with JMO, and he
There's
told
catches to be had.
he talked about Reynolds being gone, and he said there's catches to be had there on the offense, and he's loving seeing these guys fight for him.
Love that.
He also
That's awesome.
was asked about JMO and just his role on the offense, and he just said it's nice to have a guy like that where you know that when you get him the ball, there's a good chance that he could just take it all the way.
Yes, that's awesome, and even even the run that he had in the NFC Championship proves that it doesn't matter where he is on the field. There's always a shot at JMO taking it all the way.
And that's great for to have against the defense where you have to have that guy where he is at all times, because if you're not guarding him, he is a threat to take it all the way. Amon-Ra, as much as I love him, is not necessarily as much that threat of he catches the ball, he's gone.
No, he's just going to burn you and get a couple yards of
yeah,
space.
he's just that guy that's going to make catches in big
Yep.
situations, or he's just going to take those chunk plays
Yep.
and he'll dink and dunk you down the field. If
Which
you,
is, I mean, you need the mixture of everything. You
yeah,
need it
no,
all.
he's great at what he does, and
Yes.
that's
Yes.
he's getting paid for it, and rightfully so.
You want to know another guy that you've got to keep an eye on and know where he's at on the field at all times?
Jameer Gibbs.
Yes, sir. So Jameer Gibbs has been staying after practice and taking some Amon-Ra lessons on his receiver breaks with Amon-Ra. So that's scary for defenses. It should be. So that's exciting. I love the fact that he's taking that step. That's a very large maturity level to go with someone like Amon-Ra, who is absolutely amazing off the line at getting that first step and finding some space. And I think it's going to do nothing but very good things for this offense and Jameer Gibbs' stat line. Period. So, yeah.
Well, I agree. I heard those as well, that he was taking some lessons primarily on releasing, from the line at the wide receiver position, which means we are going to see a lot more of him, not only in the backfield, but maybe lined up in the slot, maybe even out wide. Who knows?
And it's been said that Ben Johnson has literally told him, like, you will have a larger role in this offense. And I mean, it's that doesn't necessarily have to be running the ball either.
Yeah, and we talked about it. We just said, Goff said there's catches to be had. Why couldn't some of those go to a running back who's playing wide receiver?
Exactly.
He's got the same skill set as a wide receiver. He's just smaller, which can work to his advantage if he's speedy enough, which he is.
Oh my gosh, you put him there in the slot. Oh man.
Can you imagine Monty in the back? I want you to imagine a set where you've got Laporta on the end of the line coming off, and then you've got St. Brown in the slot, then out wide one side you've got JMO, and outside wide the other side you have Gibbs, and then you've got Monty in the backfield.
No, I quit. If I'm on the defense, I quit. I'm walking away.
It's impossible.
Call me Antonio Brown. I'm taking my jersey off. I'm throwing the deuces in the end zone. I'm walking out. I'm done.
I think the way what we're going to see is a lot of people are going to try to cut that off with putting extra pressure on Goff and trying to get quick blitzes off, which is only going to benefit more because that's going to open Laporta up as a safety option.
As long as he can get that ball out quick.
To me, the sky is the limit for this offense.
Yes.
I don't see how we won't be the number one offense in the NFL with the weapons we have. I look around the league. I don't see a lot of teams that have the same amount of potential and just pure athleticism that we have.
I will say I think it's going to be between us and the Eagles for number one. San Francisco, most of the teams, and this might include the Eagles actually. A lot of these teams have that one person or whatever that are either not happy or they're in disarray of some sort. A.J. Brown has shown that if he doesn't get the ball, he pouts like a little baby. Shout out to him. Still, though, giving him his flowers, he's still probably my top receiver in the NFL. But he pouts like a baby when he doesn't get his way. Ayuk is a question mark at this point. And not only that, but now they're Trent Williams, I think, is a question mark on that team. Is that correct?
I didn't see any news out of that.
Okay. The Cowboys.
Jamar Chase for the Bengals is holding out, wanting more money.
The Cowboys, you've got their quarterback, Dak Prescott, and you got their number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb, both waiting for contracts. So I'm saying all these big high flyers, and we've seen Devontae Adams isn't happy. Not that they will be a number one offense by any means, but I'm just saying, like, these big guys, I'm so happy with the way that Brad Holmes and anybody else in this organization that has any kind of choice decision making, the culture and the men that they have drafted and signed on this team and traded for or whatever, they've got the right guys. We don't have this issue of holdouts or anything like that right now. Will it come? I'm sure it will at some point. It's just going to happen. There's a lot of personalities to deal with on one team, but right now we look like absolute roses coming out of this, postseason and preseason because of what we were able to do with our guys. So it's great.
Yeah. Last thing we need to talk about on some interesting points coming out of training camp. We did get news today that Levi Onwuzurike,
Oh, I made somebody mad with this.
the embattled interior lineman who has, flash potential at times, but been injured, and ultimately we thought maybe his career was over due to back injuries, but then he came back and played last year a little bit. We got news today that he is taking starting reps, first team reps on the edge rusher position across from Aiden Hutchinson. Does this mean that potentially he's not as in jeopardy as we thought he was?
I made somebody mad because of what I said, and I'm gonna stick with it. I still think this is the end for Levi. I've been a Levi supporter since day one. When we drafted him, I was happy. I was super excited. I was hoping that he'd get healthy. He is healthy now. Apparently, is healthy now. I still think at this point, I think they're grasping at straws with Levi. I just think they're trying to find a spot that fits for him, and it's not going to stick.
Yeah,
I just
well,
don't think so.
you made that comment. Somebody replied unhappily, just saying, don't give up on it. You're giving up on him now. Now that he's taking first team reps.
What has he done though?
Yada,
He's
yada,
got
yada.
one tackle.
I replied. I don't know if you saw my reply.
I did.
I replied to, and I said, you. Just because you're taking first team reps does not solidify you as a 53-man roster guy.
Nope.
This is practice. Everybody is getting a chance at doing stuff just to see where they are, if they're capable of playing there. We're just getting eyes on guys right now.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yep.
You tell me that he's showing out and all of a sudden he's making great plays off the edge in the preseason. Okay, now there's a very legitimate conversation to be had.
Mm-hmm.
As of now, Levi stands as Levi stands. He is an injury-prone guy on an expiring rookie deal who has not had any production in the NFL whatsoever.
One tackle last year. He amassed one tackle.
Excuse me.
So
I had a guy quote that tweet and say, it literally says he's taking first team reps. You dim-witted dumb shits.
Just to say something. Whatever, man, because like I said, I mean, Levi, I think they're just giving him a shot wherever. Listen, Marcus Davenport is somewhat injured. They're nursing him back to health. DJ Reader is injured. They're nursing him back to health. You've got Wingo, who is a first-year rookie, and is he going to play edge? Are they going to put him? Where are they going to put him? He's got the body to do multiple things. He could even be on the inside. It's also like the second or third day of training camp. So these guys that essentially Levi is a rookie. I mean, like essentially he hasn't played enough games to say he's not. So they're just trying him at different things, and I just don't think it's gonna stick.
Yeah, and let's I'm pulling this straight off my reply to these people on X is let's just run down a list of who Levi's competing with right now. Broderick Martin, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, John Kaminsky. Sorry, I keep saying Frank. He's not an NBA player. Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Matthew Betts, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, and Mackie Wingo.
No way.
And that's just a few. And I'm not saying there's no way for him. That's not what I'm saying here. Maybe that's your opinion.
I'm saying no way, but I'm damn ecstatic if I'm wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying here is Hutch and McNeil and Reader are locks for the roster.
Yep.
John Kaminsky has been a absolute steal kind of guy who just puts his head down and works. I see him staying just because he's a Campbell guy. Davenport is we don't know yet.
Fringe.
But here's the problem with that. Davenport, we just paid a contract in free agency. He's going to be a little bit. I don't know what the due money there is. I'm assuming it's not a lot, but I'm sure it's more than what we would take if we let go of a guy on an expiring rookie deal.
Davenport is also an edge rusher, and we're not. Trying him.
We've got Josh Pascal, who has been super versatile, and he also has injuries. But here's the thing with him: when he's out there, he is flashing. I think he had a game last year, if I remember correctly, where he came off injury and he had 3 sacks in one game.
Someone I think you might have forgot to mention, and it flies. I mean, same birds of a feather right there. Mm-hmm. James Houston.
I did say James Houston.
Okay, my bad.
James Houston. I want to say James Houston is a lock for this roster, but I'm not. I just don't know yet.
Right.
I think his potential is outrageously
I
good.
hope to God he is, for real. Yeah, like you said, his ceiling is
Yeah.
Exponentially larger than a lot of
We've
players.
got Betts, who's had proven production in a pro football league. Obviously, it's not the NFL,
Still
it's the
fringe.
CFL, but still a fringe guy. We've got a rookie, Wingo, guaranteed going to make the roster because he was a rookie.
We drafted him, right?
Yeah. Broderick Martin, who last year was a pretty high draft pick, is probably going to make this. He's going to make this roster because he did not play much last year, so we didn't get to see what he is yet.
He's on the Aleem plan,
This year, he has. People have already been impressed with his physique and the way he's shown out, and he looks stronger.
How he's
and
carrying
leaner.
himself. Yep.
So
all of it.
To me, if you're making the argument that Levi is on this team because he's taking first team reps, I would encourage you to look again and look at the roster around him, and then come back to me and tell me you're 100% confident that this guy has as good of a chance as everyone else is making that roster.
And here's another thing, just so you guys know, if you want to say that, go ahead and say that Amik Robertson is going to end up being CB1 because he took first team reps first day at CB1. So just go ahead and follow that same energy with the other players. Yeah. That's all.
I'm not trying to piss anybody off here, but just
they're already pissed though. That's the thing.
But it's whatever. It's just the few people though. But you guys just have to realize that the reality of the situation is no matter how much love you have for a player or how much you have a sentimental thing because they were drafted and you had high hopes for them and they didn't amount to them, but you've always had high hopes for them. That's great, but what have you done for me lately is what it comes down to.
Yep, and I will tell you, I will sit here in front of this camera, in front of you and everybody, and I will put it out there on YouTube. I am really bad at that. I mean, you know that. I mean, Levi is one of them. I have fought you about Levi for 2 years now. I don't even want to say the other one because of the situation that he turned into. But Isaiah Buggs, when he was on the team before I knew that he was an absolute piece of garbage, I fought you on him. It's just one of those things. Like I'm like that too at times. But I also realize if you look down this roster, and we're looking on paper at this point because it's the preseason. Or not even the preseason, but if you look down this roster, you cannot say that Levi deserves a spot on this 53-man team based on the talent that is above him. You cannot do it. You can't do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's good. We're good. We can leave that off. It just goes to show, and you've just admitted it, that I have an impeccable judge of character. So, I knew about Bugs. Obviously, I knew what the legal troubles he was going to get into.
Okay.
This week on Brendan's Crystal Ball.
We should start a segment with that.
All right, so the last segment and the sometimes most fun at sometimes, we have That Was Random.
I think it's sometimes the most depressing, but okay.
Yeah, let's look around the league. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on everywhere in the world, I suppose. You want to start? We can talk about your man?
Okay, well, hold on a minute.
Zach wants to talk about his mans.
Say what?
Go ahead.
Anyways, all right, so 2 weeks ago, we talked about, we witnessed the death of Slim Shady. It was sad. We let him go. Or so we thought. Hitting the news is some guy wearing number 9 in Cincinnati that looks like he might be the reincarnation of Slim.
Yeah, if you're a Buddhist, this is right up your alley.
Because
he is reincarnated.
Joe Burrow comes out with the buzz cut, and he's got it bleach blonde, and he looks like, he's one earring just like Brendan, more of a hoop earring.
I have 2 earrings. What are you talking about?
He's one left ear hoop earring away from singing in NSYNC.
I have something to say about NSYNC at the end of this.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. And there's a lot of people that are equating him to Slim Shady, so it's really funny that they just had the death of Slim Shady. All of a sudden, he comes out of the practice facility looking like that. So
moving on to America's former team, the Dallas Cowboys front office came out.
Hey, isn't that crazy? America's team for both college and NFL are both in the state of Michigan.
You're an idiot. Anyways, let's just see. We're not going to be having any orgies in the end zone yet. Okay, let's calm down.
All right.
Cowboys front office came out this week and said that they that the likes of re-signing or extending players like CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, or as Zach typed here, Dap Prescott.
I just saw that. I knew you were going there.
Dap.
I'm like panicking trying to find my cursor so I could change it before you read it.
Anyways, they came out and said the likes of
Dak.
they came out and said re-signing or extending Dak, CD, and Micah Parsons is going
Well, that's
to.
why they haven't signed him yet. They can't find him.
It's going to take some time, all right? No, it's not. CD Lamb absolutely should be getting a contract. Micah Parsons should absolutely be getting a contract immediately. Those guys are like tops of their position in some people's minds, or at least top 3 in their position probably. Why are you not dish out the money now? Dak Prescott, I will give you, I do not think they are sold on him yet, and I think there is a high probability that he moves on from that team.
That's why they took Trey. That's why they got Trey Lance. I mean, that he's their backup plan, I think. But anyway,
I was hoping you weren't joking there, because that could be viable.
No, I'm not.
Or at least
he's the successor.
At least they got him to be a bridge guy, so that they can get some kind of play out of a young guy, and then draft a guy like, who knows.
Yeah, no, I'm 100. Oh gosh,
maybe they'll stay in the state of Texas and get Quinn Ewers.
There you go. The question I had, I put a question here, and this is kind of like just piggybacking off the same thing you were working on right there. Why did it even take the front office so long to even say that portion? We're saying, a lot of Cowboys fans are saying Dak should have been signed already. CD should not be waiting for an extension. This should have happened. Why has it taken so long for them to even say they're going to do so? I mean, like they're not even making it happen. It took them this long to say, "Hey, listen, this is going to take some time. We're going to do it." Okay. I don't know.
First point, let's reference here to Cowboys fans. No, Dak Prescott should not have been signed by now. Let's be honest. He has been a regular season merchant. He stocks up these grand numbers, looks great during the regular season, and then craps the bed in the postseason. And that is probably one of the top reasons why guys like Matthew Stafford were looked down upon and ended up moving to different teams, is because they had great regular season success but could not put it up when it mattered. Right?
If you want, yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I agree with you. If you want to win a fantasy league, then go ahead and draft Dak Prescott. If you want to win Super Bowls or even a playoff game, then you better steer clear of him. That's how it is.
Jared Goff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So it pains me to talk about the Cowboys any more than we have to. So let's get back to a little bit of, we'll end with some Detroit news. So let's talk about something a little bit out of there first. We also got news today that Miami has signed Tua Tagovailoa to a contract extension, 4 years, $212.4 million, and guarantees him. I don't know the guarantees. I'll look into that later. But
you didn't see me throwing up the gang signs.
I did. It puts him at the third highest quarterback pay in terms of annual salary, which means Jared Goff is now the fourth highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And we look really good for signing him when we did.
Genius front office. I just want to throw out there, I did throw up those gang signs. I am making a little bit light of that, but it's if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm scared of this signing because that's a long time for someone who is one hard helmet hit away from being done in the NFL. I am scared. I hope there wasn't a ton of guaranteed money in there. I don't know what it was. I hope there was some kind of like health contingency on that because, I don't mean to make light of it, but seriously, like that I would be afraid of that signing. I would. I just would.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. MLB news. Detroit Tigers are on a heater right now. Detroit Tigers, in the month of July, currently hold the best record in the MLB, and have almost worked their way right back to 500 on the year.
51 and 53 as we sit. They just, again, we're Friday. You guys are going to see this Monday. They'll be right towards the end of their I think they're playing the Twins. They've got a series with the Twins, but they just split 50-50 with the first place Guardians. And then after the Twins, they go right back to play the Guardians. So big options here. Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not a huge like Detroit Tigers fan, but I know you have been following and seeing the Scooble trade ideas and all this stuff. Do you think they should be buyers or sellers at the deadline
I
at
think
this
you
point?
I think you have to be buyers. There's already a lot of news coming out of people being dealt and that kind of stuff. I know a Rosareno was traded recently.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other stuff going on right now. I keep getting updates, but they're too fast on my phone for me to comprehend while we're recording this. But I do not get rid of Scooble. We talked about it on the last show, so I'm not going to dive in. You want to hear what we had to say? Go back and watch that one. It's just not. It does not make sense for you to dish out any young players when you're in a position where obviously there's some kind of spark in this team. You just don't have the pieces needed to make the leap. So go out and get the pieces you need to make the leap.
I do agree with that, and I'm going to make a couple points here. First of all, the one point I have is obviously I don't. It might be MLB wide. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough. I guess of how scouts look at talent. Um, but the development is not there in Detroit. Their drafting skills recently suck. Trade those picks, man. Get somebody that can help you win now. Um, the that would my ultimate answer is going to be we need to buy. You're at 500. Do this damn thing. Get into the playoffs. Find a way. Um, my only argument for selling at this point is just and I think this could turn around at any given moment. But I just saw that Riley Green's going to the 10-day DL or whatever. He's off for 10 days due to injury. I just the Tigers just can't catch a damn break at this point. They just it just seems like everything's going good. They're the best team in the majors in July. All of a sudden, one of the players that has been playing the best for them goes down. It's just it just seems like they just cannot catch a break, and it just sucks. But um, Javi Baez hit a home run the other day. Holy crap! I was
And
shocked by
that's
that.
Javi Baez typical. He either swings big and
Yeah,
nails one, or he
or
swings
it's a
big and he
strikeout.
struck out 90
Yep.
times.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That brings us to the end of the football talk. Although I do have something that needs to be shown on the
Let's
show.
go.
So I have, this weekend I went and saw Cinematic History.
Oh, dude, what? No. That is
So
not what I thought he was going to show.
your face, you were like, "Yes, let's go." He's excited about this. So I went out and I watched Deadpool 3 and just want to give a quick review. Great movie, hilarious. Talk about my Backstreet Boys. I said I had to come back to. Probably one of the funniest opening sequences in a movie I've ever seen. Featured Bye 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 by, or not Backstreet Boys, sorry, Bye 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 by NSYNC. Choreographed number featuring Deadpool and a lot of gore, but it was hilarious.
I think some of those lyrics are "You may hate me," and yes, that is the damn truth right now.
AMC is selling these popcorn buckets. They were made as a spoof off of the Dune Dune
That
2,
thing is way too close to me. Get
the
that thing
Dune
away
2
from me.
popcorn bucket. The Dune 2 popcorn bucket was laughed at because it had, it looked like a certain sexual thing. So Ryan Reynolds did this for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It's great. It's got this little tongue in here. If you can see that too, it's hilarious.
He thinks we're going to be canceled because of a cat. Are you kidding me?
And even better is it can also be used for popcorn. So
Yeah, I did get a text. Brennan texted me and said, popcorn bucket secured. I basically told him that I did not care and I did not want to see it, essentially. I think it's stupid. And then he let me know that he got some extra popcorn butter as a take home.
In a to-go cup. I asked for in a to-go cup.
Anyways, let's move on.
So the real thing Zach thought I was going to bring out, we are going.
I'm afraid to get excited now.
We are going to training camp for the Detroit Lions next week. We will be there on Wednesday morning.
Yep.
And Zach made this purchase for us. We got ourselves a nice little football, hoping we can get some signatures from Lions players on that, and even add more to our future set that we're going to have here. But hopefully that'll be a nice little addition. I don't know what the likelihood of us getting signatures is. on the bright side, we do have
I knew you were going there.
we do have a teenager that we can exploit, hopefully for them to sign a kid's stuff instead of an adult.
And honestly, that is for real happening. But we are exploiting him at this point. But I do want to be honest. He is not a Lions fan. I had to beg him to go in the first place. He's a Chiefs fan, so he does not care about the autographs. So if I can get him to get me some autographs, then I'm gonna do it. So.
Yeah. Well, likelihood what'll happen with him is he won't care until we get the autographs, and then he'll say, "Oh, I wanted an autograph."
And then inevitably he will end up with this football. Just so you guys know, I'm not a complete asshole.
No, he won't. I'll take it. I'm his uncle, and I don't need to look nice to him.
He'll probably want to. He's never mind. Moving on. Let's move on.
That is the show this week, guys. You got a little bit of everything, some good Lions news. You got a little, you might need to go and take a cold shower if you saw my popcorn bucket. But that's it. That's all we have, right? You got nothing else, right?
I got nothing else.
All right. So we will bid you adieu as we normally do, and we will see you next week after we get back from training camp.
Hopefully we see some of you guys there.
Yep. Without further ado, go Lions.
Go Lions, baby.